Greetings, everyone. This is Payment Loans, your host, your friend, your coach. Today, I have another great guest, my new friend from Australia, originally from the UK, based in Adelaide. We connected through the beautiful serving circle about 2 weeks ago while I was still in Canada. I'm back here in Asia now. So, yeah, we had a beautiful chat last week, and then she invited me into her podcast. She's a fellow, very successful podcaster herself. We had a blast. Supposed to talk for what, 30 minutes, but it went for an hour and a half because me and her, we can vibe, we can talk. And yeah, and here she is today. We're gonna unpack her story, whatever story she has. In a nutshell, what she does, she loves helping people get unstuck in their business. And that's what she does. And she's already built previously a very successful high six-figure SaaS business in Australia. And now she's looking at the next chapter. So without any further ado, Selena, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be the one being interviewed. Woohoo! And
Oh,
you're right, we both can talk. So strap yourself in, everyone. It's going to be fun.
that's an understatement. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. So the first thing I want to know is we're gonna talk about your business, all that good stuff later. But what I really want to know is
Sure.
who's Selena first and foremost as a human being and as a woman?
Beautiful. I think Selena is a ever evolving creature who is passionate about understanding things and has a bit of a knack for seeing patterns and dots that need to be joined in interesting and sometimes surprising ways. I like to wander through the world, noticing and being curious. I have a brain that loves to solve problems. So that has been very prevalent in my life, just generally. My human design kind of echoes that as well. I'm designed to find things, get curious, go experiment with something, get it wrong, learn about what I got wrong and grow, because that's the whole way we do things, and then teach somebody else how to do it. So that has resulted in me having lots of different stages in my life. Like as a kid, I was passionate about music, obsessed with
Oh,
music. I am a classically trained singer. I went to my careers interview in year 10 with my demo cassette, just show my age there, and just asked for the white book of producers because I was quite convinced I was going to be a famous musician. Thank you. She decided I was going to be an accountant. Hilarious. And careers counselors. Beautiful, not going to happen. And then I became very passionate about literature and poetry,
uh-huh.
and became an English and drama teacher. Then I became really passionate about the education system and why teachers were really tired all the time and undervalued and ticking boxes. And that's how I ended up creating edufolios, which was then I had to learn how to run a business. And, you can see how this goes. I can't stop myself. And it's so fun. So I'm an adventurer in information, and I am someone who likes to see gaps and then work out how to join the dots and make things better, whether that be for myself, expressing myself artistically in song and words, whether that be for the students I was teaching, the teachers I was working with, and now, of course, for business owners. And that kind of goes everywhere in my life,
Wow,
honestly.
love that, love that. We're gonna unpack all of that.
Great.
First of all, what I want to start with is a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you. Ready?
Okay. Okay.
So,
Go.
Selena, tell us what makes you happy?
Um, Animals, sunshine, and good company.
I'm with you. What makes you smile?
My family,
Mm-hmm.
um, beautiful soul music that just takes me
Mm,
away, and seeing other people just be in their full joy. That makes me feel happy too.
love that. Now, let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes you come alive? What sets your soul on fire? Makes your heart sing?
Makes my heart sing. Right. There are two answers to this. One is any moment where I get to connect energetically.
Mm.
And so that can be through music. Like I love singing choral songs with
Oh,
harmony because I feel that energetic connection. That can be through a really good, deep conversation, not the small talk, but like
yes.
big brain talk. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. That makes me fired up and come alive. Anything really where I'm in a space with other people and that energy is rolling like a good circle energy, or it's like
Yeah.
round and round and round. And the
Absolutely.
second thing that really lights me up is if I see injustice in the
Oh,
world, I get very fiery and I need to advocate. I don't know what that is. Social justice is a big thing for me, but that's more of a it's not an uncomfortable energy, but that's not a joyous energy. That is a fiercely protective part of me, I
yes.
think.
What's your sign? Are you a Libra?
I'm actually a stargate between Gemini and Cancer.
Okay,
Mm,
because when you mention injustice, I'm a Libra. That's something that really is very important to me.
yes.
So good for you. Yeah,
Thank you.
we're welcome. Now, on the other side of the coin, what makes you sad and angry?
Oh, wow. There you go. Injustice. We kind of just picked up on that
Yeah.
one. It gets me very passionately angry, and to the point where I can very much hyper focus and get very frustrated if I see
Mhm.
something like that. I also get like that when I see people in positions of leadership, in any form of leadership, leading people in a way that is not helpful. When I sometimes struggle to believe that people are doing their best, which is not very kind. Like when I see somebody, and I'm like, okay, and I have to work very hard to give them grace and ask the right questions to just check, because I don't
Yeah,
like that. That makes me very angry, because people are important. Connection is important. And if somebody is taking advantage of that, I get all like growly and like a little mean dog.
I'm with you on that, my friend. I'm with you. Absolutely. So my microphone started moving along, you know?
Yeah, the energy was palpable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what would you say is your number one personal superpower?
Curiosity
Oh yeah.
and compassion. But
Mhm.
curiosity is my major one. I have this uncanny, some of my friends will say that I am a little bit naive, because I always, as much as when I see people in positions of power abusing that, that makes me cross. But I will most often see the good in people. That's how I've been a high school teacher. Like when I was a high school teacher, my favorite schools were the schools that were failing. So in the UK, we have
Mm,
Ofsted, and I went in this beautiful school and I loved it. And it was like the school that nobody wants to work in. Those are the schools I love, because those kids
yeah.
need me. They need somebody to love them, and they need someone to believe in them. And I will always see the good in something. So when somebody else might go, oh, no, I'll go, ooh, interesting, because I want to know what's going on. Why is it doing that? How can we understand it? And how can we make it better? Which I think is, again, that is my human design. And that's kind of echoed, like I said at the beginning, throughout my whole career. Like if something's not right, I will lean in rather than run away, which gets me into some interesting situations sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what scares you?
Oh my goodness. Personally, what scares me? Do you know something that's come up really interesting and really recently, and it's interesting, is failure.
Oh.
Failure scares me at the moment, and it's been prickling energetically in the back. That's something I'm currently working on. And I'm very curious about where it's come from. And I feel like I'm being really called to shift my definition of success. There's obviously a part of me somewhere that's clinging on to an older version of myself. I like to think that sometimes parts of my unconscious mind like to have little tantrums like
Mhm.
toddlers. I think that's what's happening. So I think that, honestly, failure, it's really interesting, isn't it? Mm.
Indeed. Speaking of that, what part of failure is scaring you the most?
Oh, stop it. Therapy on the podcast. What part of failure scares me the most? This is mean. And be vulnerable. And he's like, let me poke that a little
Yeah.
bit more. Good, good. So, what part of failure scares me the most? Do you know what? I think it has to do with a part of me that thinks that if I don't please people, or I
Mhm.
don't do things this way, I will disappoint others,
Yes.
and that will make me less than. So I think it's all tied to self-worth patterns and probably something in my childhood. So I think it's about
Mm.
letting people down or being judged. There
Yes.
you go.
Yes. Well, I'm with you absolutely. Now, what is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I know, right?
My goodness, you've got me to shut up. That's the first time ever I'm having to think. One thing I used to value that I don't value anymore. That's a really hard question. I'll tell you a thing, a realization that I had
Mhm.
was that I used to really value fun, right? And
Okay.
it's not that I don't like fun, but fun was one of my key values. I always wanted everyone to have fun. And then I worked out that it wasn't one of my key values. It was one of my protection mechanisms.
Mm.
So there you go. That's a juicy one.
Protection against what?
Because when everyone's having fun,
Uh-huh.
nobody's angry, nobody's upset, nobody's doing anything that causes any like emotional discomfort. So if we're
Uh,
having fun, equals safe. And I actually thought that was one of my values. And then I just had this amazing oh moment about a year ago. Does that count? There you
oh,
go.
absolutely. Hey, absolutely
I
count.
still value fun, but it's not one of my core values
Thank
anymore.
God. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, in that way, that was not a healthy association.
Yeah. Now, what is one thing that you did not value that now you're valuing more and more?
Ooh, authenticity. I think for a very long time in my life, I didn't really understand that there was a thing that people would do, which was masking. And I think that's because I had to mask a lot as a kid. I'm neurospicy, I'm pretty sure. So by that, I mean I am not neurotypical. So as I've had a child now, and my child is gifted, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about what that is. It's not a gift. I have that brain too, because I've sat in sessions with Ed Sykes going, doesn't everybody see the world like this? And so, I am someone with a lot of thoughts, a lot of tabs open all the time, constantly wanting to make the world better. And not everyone wants that. So I learned to be quiet and keep my mouth
Mhm.
shut and do what everybody wanted me to do. All right. So because of that, I think that's where that comes from, the authenticity piece. I had to learn how to be safely myself. We talked about this a little bit. We touched on this in our podcast episode. I had to learn how to take off the layers that I had really made part of myself. And so now when I hang out with others, I have this little detection system. And
Mhm.
I don't like it when I notice that people are not being authentic. So I find that is something that, yeah, that is really, I've learned to understand as I've got older, the need to hide and the layers and the barriers that we put between ourselves and our lives and other people to keep ourselves safe,
Mhm.
which no longer serve us as we get older. And yeah, so there you go. Lots of deep answers for
Oh,
you.
I love that. And
More.
while you were talking, a question popped into my mind, and that's an even, I believe,
Okay.
deeper question. So you mentioned authenticity was absolutely indispensable. Now, what would you say is the cost of a lack of authenticity?
Oh, did you see my body language then? I'm like, it's available.
Yes.
There are so many costs. Personally, the costs that I had was if you're not able to be yourself authentically in the world as you move through, then you're going to attract people who are not actually your people.
Mhm.
And then you're going to work really, really hard to get these people to like you and want to be with you. And you can hear the language here is not very healthy. Like, I want you to be my friend. So you feel quite lonely and you feel quite misunderstood. And it really hurts because eventually that will all explode because at some point the mask will slip and then they'll be like, and you'll be like, and then it hurts because you've built this connection with somebody based on something that is not truth.
Yes.
And when you understand, and perhaps you don't even know that you've done that because you haven't quite understood that that's not truth yet. So it hurts. It hurts your ability to connect. It hurts your ability to vibrate on your unique frequency that attracts everything that the universe has got planned for you, whether that be relationships with others, money, all the things that you want in your life, if you're not authentically yourself, they can't stick. Does that make
Mm.
sense? That's my experience.
Hey, makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm completely with you. Absolutely. Now, you enjoy traveling, don't you?
I do.
We can do an entire episode, if not an entire podcast on traveling, but we might save that for another time. But for now, I'd like to take you
Okay.
down a different type of traveling, down memory lane. Go back to when you're growing up as a
Okay.
kid. You know, when we're kids, people around us, family, friends, relatives, neighbors, teachers always ask us, "Hey, Selena, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What does your answer to that as a little girl?
I want to sing in the West End and I want to play Eponine.
Wow. Why was that? Was it someone in your life that was a singer and that inspired you, or?
I just have a really, I'm going to say this without any shame or guilt.
Sure.
I'm actually very talented as a singer and I just could do it. And I was really lucky at school to be in the gifted and talented program. So I had the school pay for some amazing singing lessons. Um, I think my journey into singing started. This is a funny story. When I was a kid, we used to go on holiday to Mallorca in Spain. And then my parents, and I had an uncle who was a singer in a band, and he would come with us. And then we would do karaoke competitions. And the karaoke competition prize was always like what we'd call a slab of beer or like some vouchers for the bar. So my dad would get me to enter the competition and I would go against my uncle and everyone else. And I would win pretty much every time because I'm this cute little kid with this amazing voice. And then my dad would give me the cash for the beer. It was great. So that was really great and exciting and a massive dopamine hit. Over the course of my early years, I got offered lots of opportunities. I sang on the radio. I did all sorts
Wow.
of things. Um, I got offered a job when I was about 19 in a five-star hotel doing like the entertainment and singing there. It was very interesting. I didn't take it. It was very interesting. Um, so yeah, singing and music have always been a very spiritual thing for me as well. Like I said earlier, like where music is a place where I can be 100% myself,
Yes.
and performing in a musical is
Mhm.
really safe because I'm not myself. I
Yes.
am Eponine. And Les Miserables, I don't think it was very new back then. I'm not that old, but I remember, I think I've seen it like 6 or 7 times in various places. It's really weird when you come to Australia and see it and people are singing with an Aussie accent. That's weird. Same as when you take your kid to see Santa and he has an Australian accent. No, he's British because that's where I grew up. It's very funny. So like this is really important to me. The music part has always been about connection, freedom, flow. I used to write music a lot. When I was a kid, I spent a lot of time in the school theater with the grand piano. Oh, love that space. That was my safe space. So Eponine, I don't know why specifically Eponine. Maybe I resonated with her underdog spirit. I don't know. But I just loved that musical. So much so that when I passed my driving test when I was 17 in the UK, I was actually really scared of roundabouts for some reason. So without telling my parents, I took my car and I drove from this little town I lived in Worcester into Birmingham city centre. I just thought, I'm going to scare myself. I'm just going to do every big roundabout, every big set of traffic lights. And if I survive, that's it. I'll never be scared again. So I did that and I drove myself to the music shops that were then on Hurst Street. They're not there now. Bought myself the score to Les Miserables, drove back home, and then told my mum what I'd done. I was in big trouble. But I was never scared of roundabouts, and I still have the copy of Les Miserables to this day.
Wow. I can see that music is a big passion of yours, and I want to come back to that in a moment, but I want to stay and ask you a couple of more questions about growing up. So when you were growing up and as a kid, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
Mm. School was a hard place for me. It
Ah,
shouldn't have been, but it was. And that's one of the reasons I became a teacher. So I loved learning and I learned how to play the game. So I
mm,
learned how to tick the boxes and impress, but I always had this need to overperform. I was accelerated in some subjects. So I actually finished my music A levels about 2 years early. And I had a real passion for languages then. Remember, we talked about that. So I wanted to do French and German and music and drama. And I remember school going, no, 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 you'll never get into university with that combination. You need something more substantial. I'm like, oh my God. So I always wanted to learn more than they would let me. It was too slow for me
Mm.
and it was too limiting for me. I loved religious studies.
Oh, wow.
I went to a Catholic school and
Oh.
I loved it because it felt like it was the place where I could have really deep philosophical
Mm.
conversations.
Mm.
Father Amen, I would like to publicly apologize for the very awkward questioning that I obviously inflicted upon you during our lessons. But like I questioned everything. We had to study like Mark's gospel. And I was like, I don't understand this. What about this? What about the thoughts on this? And what do you say about why are women not allowed to be priests? And all the social injustices, like it was a great place to learn, to be curious. And I had great teachers who allowed me to do that and allow my dot joining and social justice to really develop. But school was complicated, socially complicated. Academically, it was not fast enough for me. And I think that's why I became a teacher. I felt a bit let
Mm.
down and I wanted to do it better.
Mm. I see.
Mm.
So when you were in school, what was one subject that you could not stand at all?
Mathematics,
Why is that?
which is why it's hilarious that the careers counselor wanted me to be an accountant. Fabulous. Maths is an interesting one for me. Now, I should be good at maths. I'm a musician, so I do maths in my head all the time, but I don't see it as maths. Like I'm always fractions, that's what music is. Um, but the way it was taught was a textbook, and it would be like, here's Pythagoras's theorem, and we're going to
Mm.
do this today. And we would just repeat the same flipping thing over and over again, which is soul destroying to me. It's
Yeah.
boring as. And then I'd get to the exam and it would say, Joe's ladder is against the wall. The wall is 5 meters high. How far away from the wall is Joe's ladder? And I'd be like, I don't care. All Joe needs to do is
Exactly.
wiggle the ladder and make sure it's not going to fall off. So I never
Yeah.
really understood the point. So the whole thing, as far as I was concerned, was rather irritating. But that's not maths' fault. That
Yeah.
is the English curriculum's fault. And
Yeah.
obviously maths is very good and can be beautiful. And there's so much philosophy in maths. And had it been taught to me in that way, I'd have been in like Flynn. Like if we'd have started like inquiring about the Fibonacci sequence or something like that, that would have got me interested, I'd have been in. But
Yeah.
Sam's ladder is against it. No. So I used to find, and I was really bad at it because I didn't care.
Yeah.
The other subject was PE. By the time I was in year 10, the teacher had just
Really?
given up on me. So as long as I got changed into my PE kit, I was allowed to just sit on the wall and watch
Why?
because I was terrible at PE. I didn't like PE because they
Okay.
do things like go, all right, we're going to play tennis today. Who wants to play with who? And obviously, I would be the last one nobody wants to play with. But they would never actually teach us tennis. They would just give us a racket and a ball, and I was
Really?
supposed to
Wow.
know how to do it. And so I would bounce the ball and try and hit it. And every single time it would go backwards, which is why nobody wanted to play with me because I had no idea what I was doing. And it wasn't until I was lecturing in Flinders University, probably about 10 years ago, and I was lecturing a group of PE students who were training to be PE teacher, that one of them felt so sorry for me. They taught me how to serve the ball forward. Now, honestly, so like, I think any subject I sucked at, I hated. So that's fair.
Yeah. Wow. Now, imagine that we're in the same class here on grade 10, 11. What kind of student were you back there? Were you the shy one, the nerdy one, the chatterbox, the life of the party, the superstar? Who were you back then?
Oh my goodness. I was the one that was the musician. So I was
Hmm.
always in the paper for the school. I was always doing gigs. I was not the cool one. I was, if there were like groups, I was one of the musos. I wasn't the cool one. But I loved music. I had a nice group of friends there, very small, tight-knit group of friends. I was loud in the sense that I had plenty to say. And I was never afraid to use my voice in pursuit of information or social justice. I was very popular amongst the teachers most of the time because I was always the good girl who got her work done and
Yeah.
was always trotted out to competitions and things like that. So I was probably a nerdy musician. Maybe that's how I would sum me up.
Okay, cool. Now, when you were in school, were you popular with the boys?
Uh, in a way, I guess I had a boyfriend, but I
Okay.
wasn't like I had friends. I had a lot of friends who were boys as well. I used to get on quite well with the boys, but yeah, just in a normal way, I guess. I had friends who were boys. I wasn't like surrounded by suitors, if that's what you mean, all the time.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Now, do you remember the very first time what was your very first job and how much you get paid the first time you worked?
My very first job
Yeah.
was at a shop in Redditch. Me and my best friend both worked there. What was it called? Something Best Buys or something like I don't know. It was a
Okay.
British shop, and I worked in the bakery section. I'm a vegetarian and I don't like meat, and they used to make me make like baguettes with like meat and gravy on them. The best thing about the job though was you could take the cakes that didn't sell at the end of the day home with you. It was cash in hand, so they didn't actually tell the tax man that I was being paid anything. And I think at the time I was probably being paid about £2.50 an hour, something like
Okay.
that.
Do you remember what you did with your very first paycheck? Or the first time you got paid?
Do you know what? I don't remember what I did with it. I remember I've got vivid memories of waiting at the back gate for the guy to give me the paper envelope, but
Yeah.
I actually don't remember what I spent it on. I
Uh,
don't. Maybe I went next door to Blockbuster Video and hired a movie and bought some lollies. I don't know.
so back then, £2.50, was that a lot of money? Could you do something with it or was absolutely nothing?
Not really.
No?
It wasn't very much. I mean, we didn't have minimum wage then, but it really
Okay.
wasn't a wage to be aspiring to. It was basically like, you're a kid, I'm doing you a favor, and nobody needs to know that I'm only paying you pittance. So just turn up, do your job, and behave yourself. After that, I got a job at the local pub and I was a waitress. That was awesome. That was really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like the early introduction to that kind of thing, and learning how that really wasn't how I wanted to spend my Saturday. So
Yeah. Sure. You mentioned music, and I can see each time you talk about music, you become alive, you speak from the heart. So the obvious question is, why didn't you pursue a career or a business in music? You mentioned that you had the
nah,
opportunity to become a singer at a high-end hotel at 19. Why did you turn that down?
a fear of failure, I think.
Ah,
um
okay.
it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Why did I turn it down? I think culturally
Hmm.
my music wasn't taken very seriously, in the sense of, oh, well, you're not going to make money out of that, though. That's not really a career, though, is it? And so the expectation was that I would get a good qualification and go to university and get, grow up now, move on.
Mm,
If does that make sense? There were lots of moments in my earlier life where there were big decisions that I could have said
sure.
differently. But when I got offered the job, I was already at uni studying to be a
Mhm.
teacher. Um, I wanted to apply for something called the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. That had just opened when I was about 17, 18. So that's Paul McCartney's music academy in
Oh,
Liverpool.
wow.
And I filled that application in 3 times and never posted it. Um,
Oh,
and I
wow.
don't know why. I don't know why. There was always something. It was like I wonder sometimes whether this gift is not meant in that way, whether the gift of music is not for me meant to be used as, like another lesson that I learned over the years is that passion is meant to be for you
Mm,
sometimes. Like you don't always have to have passion in service of others. You have yourself too. That is just about you and what lights you up, so that you get what you need as well. So singing, I think for me, is that it's a place I go where there is no expectation to serve someone or for someone else to benefit. It is just It just is. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow. And why not later on build something on music, even as a music voice coach, music, anything music related? Is that something that you considered and even still up to recently could have been an option for you to build a business around that?
It's not something I want to build a business around. Like I
No?
say, I think it feels like something that is not about that. I
Okay.
feel like I use music a lot in what I do, in the sense that, like, even for example, I posted a reel yesterday where
Okay.
I got AI to write the music and I sang the lyrics over the top of it.
Oh, wow.
So I do that on occasion so that the energy, that it's a way of transmitting some energy into a space using my voice.
Where did you post that?
But yeah, on Instagram. That's on Instagram. It's on
Okay.
TikTok. It's on
Gotta
YouTube.
check that. I gotta check that.
Check it
Okay.
out later. I just
Absolutely.
made up this song and then I just sang a little bit of it. I don't practice as much as I'm nowhere near as good as I used to be. I don't spend as much time in that space
Mhm.
as you get older, being a mother and a business owner and a
Yeah.
homeowner and you know, like it has shrunk in the amount of time that I do, but I do love singing and
Mhm.
I've been known to join the odd choir and have a bit of fun. But it is a very sacred experience to me. I am happiest um, just in the flow of music. I don't think it's in service of anything other than
Yeah.
communication of soul and an activation of my energies,
Yeah.
which then serves me as I move into whatever I'm doing for others.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's where
Now,
I'm at with it.
awesome. Switching gears. You're from the
Okay.
UK. What brought you from the
Yes.
UK to Australia?
Okay, so I have a husband. Woohoo! My husband and I were dating for 9 years before he proposed. Genuinely, the reason we came to Australia was he kept telling me he needed to have an adventure before he could even think about settling
So
down.
he's also from
I'm
the
very
UK?
blessed. Yeah, yeah, we're
Oh,
both
okay.
Western Wales.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
from
okay.
England, he's from Wales. And we met at university. We met when we were 18. I'm
Oh,
incredibly
wow.
blessed. We met when we were 18. We started dating when we were about 20. We were mates. We were in a band together. Ah,
Ah, beautiful.
it's very sweet. It's very hallmark. And we came here to have an adventure. And what that allowed us to do was sort of break from the timeline, I'm going to call it, that we were on, the trajectory we were on, which was go to uni, get the job, buy the house, buy the car, upgrade, you know, like the cultural expectations, get the promotion, buy the bigger car, buy the bigger house, blah, blah, blah. And then we came to Australia and it kind of meant that I did teach here for a bit, but I didn't have to. So I actually started a business here in education technology, doing consulting for schools and things like that. And I would never have done that if I hadn't have broken out of that routine that I was in. It gave space for us to explore different parts of ourselves. And then we went back to England because we were only supposed to be here for a year. We went back to England to grow up and get married and do all the other things and buy the next size house. And we did. We went back, we got married, we bought the next size house. And then we were like, oh, I don't know if this is the place that we're going to stay. And so we bought the house just before the global financial crisis in the UK.
Mm.
And we lost a lot of money on the house, but we moved anyway. And we came here and we've been here ever since. And it was the best thing we could have done for ourselves, definitely.
So why Adelaide?
Adelaide is amazing. I'm sorry, everyone. So originally, I was going to live. This is really going to make you laugh. So my only cultural understanding of Australia was Neighbours and Home and Away because I'm British. Watched every episode of Neighbours from 1989 onwards. So I was very, very wise about Australia. Right. So when we got here, we wanted to live in what I thought was going to be like home and away. We wanted to live half an hour from the city, but with a nice beach. And for some reason, in my mind, that was Brisbane. So we flew, we did a lot of traveling, then we landed in Brisbane. But Brisbane's beaches are a lot of billabongs, and there are a lot of snappy things with teeth and a lot of cyclones. And I think we got there in February And all the TV ads were like, here's how to board up your windows so you don't die tomorrow. And I was like, no, I don't
Really?
think so.
Wow. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Now, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but sorry, Queenslander friends. I love Brisbane. It's beautiful. But on the way, as we traveled around Adelaide, we'd flown into Perth. I've seen so much of Australia. Then we'd gone into the centre and we'd done Uluru and we'd come down to Adelaide. And then we'd gone all the way up the coast, all the way up to Brisbane through,
Did
Canberra,
you guys
buses up
drive?
to Sydney. We did all sorts of things. We did buses, we hired cars, we jumped into another person's, they'd hire these little camper vans and we're like, can we come? We just sit in the back, like we just made our way around however we could. I think we flew from Perth into the centre and then pretty much drove in various ways
Wow.
all the way around up to Brisbane. It was awesome. Did all sorts of cool things. And when we got to Adelaide, we'd been in the summer here. We'd been in the middle of Australia in the big heat at like 42 degrees. And then we'd got with no cold water or ice or anything like that because the taps out there, they just run with whatever temperature the pipe is, and the pipe is warm. So there's no cold water. And you get down and got to the city of Adelaide and it was like, oh, cold water. And you can get the tram from the city to the beach in 30 minutes. And we were like, we sat on the wall in Glenelg eating fish and chips going, do you know what? I think we could live here. And so we did. We turned around and came back and moved all our stuff to Adelaide. And we've been here ever since. I love it here.
Beautiful. Here's a very important question. Are you ready? And I
Okay.
want your honest answer.
Okay.
How do you compare the fish and chips in Adelaide versus the one in the UK that you get?
Well, it's hard. I don't eat the fish. So
Oh,
Matt would eat
okay.
the fish. But the chips, here's the big problem with the chips. Sorry, Adelaide, because I've got to stick up for the British. In England, one brings in a bag of potatoes and one has a machine that you chuck the whole bag of potatoes in and it strips the skins off, and another machine that chips the potatoes, and then it goes in this massive vat of hot oil. That is how it is done. In Australia, they get the bag of frozen chips, they chuck it in the fat fryer most of the time. That's not how it's done. So that would be the biggest difference for me. I've got used to it. And now when I go back home, like I was there a few weeks ago, the chips almost feel a bit soggy because they're real, they're real potatoes. They're not like the frozen chips. But yeah, that is the major difference in the potato. And I would say the major difference with the fish is the type of fish. Because back in England it's cod, and over here it's like baby shark,
Oh, really?
and things like that. Yeah, or skate or whatever it is. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of different fishies here, but I don't eat the fishies. I think the fishies should be singing their songs in the sea
Oh, yeah.
with Ariel. They do not belong on my plate. Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, moving forward,
Okay.
how would you describe your path from the moment you left school to now? Would you say it was pretty much once you're into one lane, you were set for life, smooth sailing, or was it more like turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
Of course, it was turns and twists like a roller coaster. Have you not been listening?
More fun that. I've been listening, but
um,
just in general.
Come on now. I left school and I went to the equivalent of a teacher training university,
Mhm.
and I but my plan was actually that I wanted to become a theatre and education specialist at the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Oh,
That's
wow.
really hard to do if you move to Australia. So that obviously has not happened because the
Yeah.
Royal Shakespeare Company is in Warwickshire, or London. Um, and that was really driven by my love of David Tennant and me wanting to marry him. And unfortunately, he married Georgia. So that ship has definitely sailed. So I had
Maybe
these
next
plans,
lifetime.
and yeah, well, maybe David and I could be both. I don't know. But I think it's really funny, and this is just life for everyone. I think is you can't control. You think you want to control, you think you're going to have a plan, and this is where I'm going. And that was how I was raised, right? You finish school, you get these A levels, you go to university, you get the job, you get the house. There's a plan, and then this plan equals success, this plan equals your kicking goals. But that is not my plan. And that isn't the universe's plan. And I actually don't know what the universe's plan for me is going to end up with. And I'm having a lot of fun watching and learning and seeing how all these different stages of my life go.
Mhm.
Like, it was my husband and I's 17th wedding anniversary last week, and we were having a conversation about
Wow.
if we went back to our wedding day and tried to explain to Matt and Selena of 2008 how we live and where we are and what we've achieved,
Mm.
they would laugh. They would be like, yeah, sure, cool. Because I was going to be teaching English forever. My husband was working in IT in a law firm somewhere. No, tick, tick. Great career choices, fabulous. But that's not where we are now. We're doing very different things. But every moment in that twisty journey that you were talking about has added to my conscious awareness, has added to my toolkit, has illuminated something that I don't want and something that I do, and has enabled me to kind of up level. If you want to play gamers, I've kind of gone up levels. I've done the boss and then I'm on the next level, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm very grateful for that. I think it's brilliant. I love it. I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Love that. Now, there's a saying that says, change your story internally, change your reality externally. So when you were at your lowest period of your life, how did you change that? How did you change the story you're telling yourself internally to change the external reality?
NLP.
Ah,
I love neuro-linguistic programming. I'm a practitioner now,
mm,
but I've been using NLP since I was in my 20s. And I've had some amazing NLP coaches in my life. I do understand that, I think we have millions and millions of bits of data coming into our brain every second, like what's the temperature? Is there a predator? What am I doing? Where am I meant to look? And our brain reduces that down by distorting, deleting, and generalizing. And it has to do that so that we can function. And so we have to acknowledge that what our perception is, the voice in our head, the thoughts that we are having are distorted. They have facts missing,
mm,
and there's a lot of stuff that's been generalized because that's how we're wired to be. And so once we understand that about ourselves, we can stay in that place of curiosity. What makes it hard when you're in your lowest point is the emotions that are stirring,
mm,
mean your nervous system is dysregulating or dysregulated. So for me, the key in those moments, the first step is to regulate my system. And over the
mm,
years, I have learned to do that through ritual and practices like meditation, breath work, anything like that, that just brings me down back into a regulated place so that then I have the capacity to see and hear the thoughts. And then, most importantly, evaluate them and not just accept them as truth. And when you're in a spiral of emotion, I can't do that. I need to be in that grounded place. So I need to be able to manage my nervous system in order to then access the thoughts and evaluate them whilst I'm in my highest and best so that it's ecological and that the choices I'm making are for my highest and best.
beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's talk about your business. Tell us what's your business and how are you making the world a better place around you and around the world?
Sure. So, right now, at this phase in my life, who knows where I'll be if you're watching this video in 10 years' time. Right now, on the 29th of August, 2025, my role is to support people building businesses who have found themselves feeling stuck. So, if you found somebody who's like turning over X amount of money and they can't work out why, they can't get to the next step, or they've got a full client base and all of their appointments are booked, but there's just this calling inside that there's something more and they can't quite put their finger on it. My job is to help those business owners to understand what's going on for them and their business and help them remove any blocks that are standing in their way and just recalibrate and realign so that they can move forward in a way that's going to continue to light them up and make them feel fabulous whilst they make a difference for others. So, how does that make a difference to the world? Well, I always work with beautiful, heart led, amazing business owners who are always in service. So, every time I help one of them reach more people and have a bigger impact, then you can imagine it's like a ripple effect. I'm helping like other people get what they need by supporting business owners to support their clients. And I also get to watch some amazing soul transformations, some amazing aha moments, some big releases, some letting go, some opening to receive. It's just gorgeous energies everywhere. I just love the work that I do. Yeah, and I do it a little differently because I am you can see the posters on the wall. I'm a business made certified coach and I'm dare to lead trained. But you can also see, can you see the talking stick up there on top of the frame? I love holding space. I love allowing people to speak what's in their heart in business, because growing a business can be really lonely if you are masking. We talked in our episode the other day about putting on the suit and being super profesh, and then that's how I will be taken seriously. No, 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 no. Be you. Resonate as you. Let's make sure that people can connect with you. And I know your thing. I love your thing about how, we're serving the person who is us a few 10 minutes ago, not 10 minutes ago, but a few moments ago, and if you rock up as the person you think everybody wants you to be, the question that Payman asked me earlier about what's the damage, it hurts. You end up building a business that's not you, that's not for you, that's not really for the people you want to serve, because you've got this picture in your mind of who that is, and it's actually probably you a few steps ago. So, I love helping people with that. And I do that through messaging and really diving through their story brand. That's the business made simple part. I do that by looking at leadership qualities and whether there's armored leadership or whether we're soft and open. That's the dare to lead stuff. I do that with NLP and looking at limiting beliefs. And I did a great workshop a couple of weeks ago, well, a month ago now, because I went away to England afterwards, where we did goal setting, and I helped them understand why their goals weren't working in their business and their business plans, how they were masking, how it wasn't always authentic, how there were shoulds in there, by sharing some of the things I've done, because I've had to learn this myself. And then I use timeline therapy to help them create a beautiful goal that was fully embodied, like they could feel it, they could smell it, they could taste it. And we installed that into their timeline in the future. And those clients, I met with them at Biz Circle, and they sat there going, what's just happening? I don't understand. And it's because their brain thinks it's already done. So it's just getting them to do everything that needs to happen because it's already done, because the brain doesn't know the difference between a memory and something that you visualized. It just thinks that it's done, it's happened. So all of the things that were holding them back, all the worries, are not there because the brain's like, well, we've done this, so it's easy. So there's just so much power in all of that. And look at me, I love it. I love it. I love working with people to help them unlock all of this. And I have so many cool tools from my experience running Edufolios, from my spiritual side. I use tarot a lot with my clients.
Oh, really? Wow.
Channeling. Oh, I do. I love using tarot. Tarot reveals an awful lot to us. I was saying to you the other day that sometimes I'll pull cards before my client gets there, so I can receive some hints like, watch out for this. Or I'll pull it with them and I'll ask them, what do they think that's about? What do they see? And often those are the most powerful coaching conversations, because the symbolism in those cards helps to unlock something for them. So whatever it is they think they've come for, the cards will go, yeah, I mean, what about this though? And they'll go, oh yeah, it'll unlock something so that we can move forward. So I use a lot of spiritual practices, a lot of neurolinguistic techniques through NLP, business strategies. I got all of the little gadgets and the tools, and I just love joining the dots for you, clearing the cupboard so you've got space to build the next thing.
What is the next thing?
Depends on my client, it depends what I don't know until I meet them and we pull it through. And sometimes it's not this business. And that's a big one.
Yes.
Oh, actually, I didn't want to do this. How did I get here? Great problem. Good problem. All right, let's really dive into that and go, right, what is it about this that's good? What about this is not feeling aligned? And yeah, let's really work out what is next for you, because there's a grieving process to that too, a big grieving process. Yeah.
So who's the one person, person and plural persons, that you love working most with? The one kind of
I
people.
love working with You're
Yeah.
the kind of people I love working with souls who are, I want to say spiritual, but really what I mean is self-aware and
Mm,
who are open to understanding that business is a relationship,
mm,
that um your business is probably one of the hardest relationships sometimes too, because business is something that pushes a lot of buttons. There's a lot, it requires a lot of you. So a relationship is always a mirror. It shows up, shows things to you about yourself that you can then choose to acknowledge and grow through, or choose
mm,
to feel really stuck and uncomfortable. And so when you look in that mirror and your business is like, I don't like, if I hear people going, oh no, I don't sell, I don't need to sell, I don't like selling, or oh, my price is low, and I don't think I should put it up, because you can hear like we've got issues around, like, do we believe in ourselves, do we believe in our product, or do we think we're worth it? How are we measuring value and worth? Is that attached to a product, or is that attached to the value and the difference
mm.
you're making to the client? There's all sorts of things that a business shows you about yourself. And the hardest part about the relationship with a business, I always say this, is the business is not a sentient being. So you can't blame it, unfortunately. It's always on you. So that's why it's a beautiful place to play and to learn about yourself. It's a great tool for self-development business.
Speaking of learning about yourself, what is the most powerful thing, realization, aha moment that you've learned about yourself and your business?
In my business,
Yeah.
there have been so many. I think the most significant, maybe the most sort of tower card moment of like, oh crap, was when I grew Edufolios to a point where the way to scale it past where it was meant I had to go against some of my values.
Such as?
Um, so it was a piece of software that helped teachers reflect on their practice and demonstrate how they had met teacher requirements for teacher registration and teacher accreditation. And accreditation is linked to pay and all that kind of thing.
Mm,
And I created that because I wanted teachers to have a space to reflect, see the difference they were making in the world, improve that difference, become even better. That was the heart of it for me. But commercially, the heart of it was, how many stats can we get to show that teachers are doing this, ticking the box. It became about ticking the box of the paperwork, which is what I never wanted it to be. I never wanted teachers to be jumping through hoops and ticking boxes. I wanted it to mean something. And to get it to the next commercial level, it meant that it had to become more about that, particularly as I closed it. It was during COVID or towards the end of COVID, where teachers were really tired. So even they were like, I'll just tick the box. I just can't. The whole energy behind it was wrong, was not where I wanted it to be. And so in business, what I learned about that was I was so busy being a businesswoman. So success means the revenue is increasing, the churn is decreasing, the profit margins are good, we are scaling the service and the technology at the appropriate rate, so cash flow is still in line with blah blah q whatever blah blah blah. It was all about the numbers, which I know you love. It was all about the numbers and watching the numbers. And what I really learned was it was actually more about the impact. I needed to focus on the metrics that were more important, was the difference I was making to the teachers. Because had I had that in my spreadsheet as well as everything else, that would have helped me as the CEO to make choices about software development, business development that were aligned with the values that I had for the business and the purpose that that business was meant to serve. But because that was never taught to me, because that's not in the business courses, it will be if you work with me. I ended up building a business that on paper was awesome, but hit a wall because it got to the point where I couldn't resign myself to giving up this one big, really
mm,
important thing. Does that make sense? Like, it's
yes.
important to value the impact that you are having in your business and measure that as a priority. That's where, even if it's with reviews or, surveys and questionnaires, make sure that what you're delivering is actually serving the people that you wanted to serve in the way that they need and they want, in an ecological way, I guess, in a good way, in the highest and best. you know, um, because that would have attracted more of the kinds of customers that would have continued to grow it rather than going, right, well, I need to bring on another 5,000 people. How will
Mm,
we do that? You see what I mean? See the difference? Totally different conversation.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, share with us an example of the most transformational aspect you've seen from one of your clients.
Ooh. Let me pick one. Oh, I can think of so many. What do they all have in common? Like I have a client who went from like a couple of clients to like 40 clients a week in a couple of months. I have a client who runs a merchandising business here in Melbourne, who, after we'd worked on his messaging and his purpose, had so many people sign up to fill in the form for inquiries, he had to close the form. It was getting silly. So, like, I know this stuff works. This is about energetics, and it's about understanding the story behind your purpose, in such a way that you can then use that to measure the value and keep that as a priority. So yeah, those guys come to mind. I've also had a client, a beautiful friend of mine, who is a shaman, and she helps women with womb healing and fertility, um, and just watching her step into that story fully. Because
Mm,
when you create your story, you have to be the guide in the story. So the guide in the story is the one who's been there, done that, like you were saying, and is a few steps ahead. And you have to know that that is true,
mhm,
and you have to believe that is true, and you have to work through imposter syndrome, and you have to embody this sometimes new version of yourself in order to get where you need to go to support people. So sometimes when I'm working through the story brand framework, it's going to be about that. It's going to be about going, wow, that is what I do. Oh my gosh, that's a big responsibility. Do I love that? Is that what I want to be doing? Or does that scare me? If it scares me, why does it scare me? Is it a block that we remove, or is it just not the right thing? You've fallen down the shoulds path, and this is the gist of the work. And when we've unlocked that and we've got to the depth and the breadth of that, then everything else just happens because it's all in alignment again. So sometimes clients have come to me with a business that's turning over 500,000 and it's got stuck, and it's because they've done what I did with Edufolios, and they've got stuck in the KPIs and they've forgotten the thing. And we come back to the heart of the matter, and then off we go again. So I've got lots of clients for that. Whether you want, I've got extra, whether it's about having more people sign up, or just being able to align and call in the right clients so that you feel fulfilled and you feel happy, rather than dealing with the clients that you probably should fire, if you know what I mean. Like, there's lots
absolutely.
of different parts to this beautiful puzzle, and that's my special talent, is seeing all those parts and weaving them for you so you can see them too, through and adjusting those lenses, going, I think you've forgotten this bit. Did you notice this? Like, a lot of time we don't pause to celebrate. We
Mm,
delete the things that are good, because you were saying, how do you get out of that? Oh, it's all rubbish, I don't think I can do this more. Well, we have to stop deleting all the evidence that is showing us the good stuff too.
totally, totally.
How's that for an answer?
Oh, you took me around the world, but you eventually answered the question. No, I'm just joking. That was.
That's very me. Yeah. It's because
I'm
I
also the
hadn't.
king of tangents. I'll take you around the world before answering a question.
I know, that's why we're dangerous. That's why these podcasts could go on for days.
I know that. Now, let's start to wrap things up. And to finish, I'd like to ask you another series of rapid fire questions, but this time on advices. Ready?
Advice. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So, what's
Okay.
the best piece of advice you've received so far in your life?
Oh, it's safe to be you.
Mm,
Just do it.
love that. What's the worst piece of advice you've received so far?
um, any piece of advice that is about what I should be doing
Mm,
immediately starts my, if I hear the word should, I will do the absolute opposite usually because I'm a petulant child. But yeah, you should be doing this. You should be making this. The shamey shoulds, anything with a shamey should in it. No, no, no.
sure. Imagine that you were blessed with a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with 18-year-old Selena. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to her knowing all that you know now?
What's making me emotional? Mm,
Oh,
I am. I feel teary. Um, I think I would tell her to stop trying to control everything
hmm,
and just trust, to just allow herself to be herself and not worry about all these expectations that she has.
yes.
Just don't worry about that. Because whatever you think at 18 right now, love, trust me, that really isn't anything near what your life is going to be, and it's going to be wilder and more exciting than anything you can imagine because you've only lived 18 years of your life and there is
Yeah,
so much more for you to learn and discover. So
yeah.
just relax, love, just enjoy and chase the joy. Stop worrying about all the expectations. Definitely.
Preach, preach. Absolutely love that. Now, I know you all do your podcast, but imagine that today you're interviewing the most special person in the world. That is yourself. So, what's the
Okay.
first question you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. First question that comes to your mind.
Hmm. I think this word authenticity just keeps coming up for me. And
Mm.
I would say, what does authenticity mean to you? Which is interesting. Mm.
And what would be your answer in a short
I
way?
knew you were gonna. I was like, I'm gonna
Of course,
let
I
you
couldn't
off
let
now.
you go with that at the call.
Of course. What does authenticity mean to me? All right, universe, you put this into my head. It means being in your full power. It means honoring yourself.
Mm,
It means honoring your ancestors. It means honoring your genealogy. And it means allowing yourself to be fully in purpose, not on purpose, in purpose and in alignment. Because when you are trying really, really hard to impress everybody else and do the thing that you should be doing and fulfill the expectations of the culture, the community, the mom and dad, the school, the university, the business community, what that guy said on TikTok yesterday, whatever it is, you are making life harder. So, authenticity is flow, it is self love, it is self honoring, and it is openness. And it is the way to feel the joy and the success that is always yours. It's already yours. Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Now, the last question I ask, and that's my favorite question to ask all of my guests, and that is,
Okay.
what is the smallest thing you've done that has had the greatest, deepest, most profound, positive impact in both your life and your business? For example, for me, has been starting my podcast. What about you, Selena?
The smallest thing that I have done that has had the most profound impact is running the monthly business circle.
What's that?
The first time okay, so the first time I did it, I got to the end and went, whoa, that was massive. And that didn't take me any time at all. So
Mm,
if you've ever been to a sharing circle, so lots of women I know love going to sister circles. So what we do is we meet once a month. We start with a cleansing smudge and just grounding. We join into circle. And I've set up an altar in the center with crystals and tarot cards all going around the outside. There's a tarot and a candle for every person, and they choose where they sit. That's how the message they receive is chosen by where they sit. We open with a meditation, and the only piece of work that I do is write the meditation. I write the meditation, and the meditation is usually themed around the astrology and how that connects with business. So, for example, last week's circle, there's a lot of Virgo energy in the sun at the moment, which is all about your values and what do you believe and are you living those values in your business. So that's what we did our meditation on. And then I open the circle for sharing. And if there's 10 of us, we usually have about 5 minutes. And that talking stick, she's full of beautiful vibes and energy. It's popcorn. So people pick up the stick and they just speak what is in their heart about their business, because business is a lonely place. And when we go networking at BX and BNI, we don't go, do you know what? I'm actually feeling really excited about this, or I'm really feeling a bit afraid about this, or I really wish I understood how to work with a VA because I'm spending all this money. We don't have those conversations. So when someone is sharing, no one is allowed to interrupt them. No one is allowed to give them advice or solve their problem or offer them a book or a product that will solve all their problems. We just hold space and we just listen. And then the next person picks up, and we do that around the circle. Then we take a break and then we do a reflection round. And this is where the magic happens, because if you've turned up to circle and gone, my VA, I've been paying this much money and I can't understand it, it's not working out, blah, 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 blah. I might go, hey, when you talked about your VA, that made me think of a time when this happened. And I actually learned that it was about this. And once I put this into place, it was awesome. And they'll go, oh, cool, thank you. So I'm not selling them anything. There's no pitching. It's just sharing experiences, which
Mm-hmm.
makes everybody feels seen, everybody feels heard, everyone feels validated, and everybody walks away feeling inspired. It's crazy. The energy will go around the circle, and we'll all end up reflecting back on a
Mm-hmm.
theme. And so, because of the Virgin energies and the vibes of that self and values, last week we started talking about our place of origin and expectations and our versions of success. And some of us in the circle were at a stage where money wasn't really an issue, and so we were able to do things where we weren't worried about how much money that thing was going to make. It was all in service. Others were at the point where they're struggling with how much to charge and whether they should charge because they're not in that place. So it's a beautiful moment because everybody is learning from everybody's energy, places, and spaces. And it really is the least amount of work I can do physically, but it's one of the most important pieces of work that I do, because holding
Absolutely.
space and listening is powerful work. So
Yes,
there you go.
absolutely. Before we close off, I forgot to ask you about your podcast. Tell us about your podcast.
So the podcast is called Inner Business, and it is an exploration of that interplay between self and business. So when something goes on in your business and it makes you go eek, what does that teach you about yourself?
Mm.
Basically, like I say, I totally believe that anyone who can couple intuition with the right business strategies will definitely have the competitive advantage. So I tend to do themes, like recently we've done one about goals. We've done a lot about story and the journey and the story and what that reveals and how that connects you with your purpose. And of course, I like to interview people like yourself. And I've got a whole playlist that I'm creating. I'm curating, people like Payman, examples of entrepreneurs who are soul led, who are spiritual beings, who are kicking goals and are doing really well, so that we can keep those stories and share them for inspiration for each other. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I love my podcast. It's a great place to explore the inner work of business and what that does for you as a person.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a blast yesterday. You interviewed me. We had such a fun conversation and such an amazing questions. So you're definitely a pro. So keep it up. Cheering for
I will.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
They can head to my website, which is selenawoodward.com, or they can look for Biz Coach Selena anywhere, because that's my handle. So if you're an Instagrammer or a TikToker or a YouTuber, Biz Coach Selena. You've just got to remember that Selena has two E's. So it's Selena, because the Scottish way is with the I, it happens. Like the Gomez, Selena Gomez and I share the
Yeah,
spelling. So yeah, selenawoodward.com or Biz Coach Selena. I would love to connect with you. Come and join me. We have lots of events going on, have communities, have the podcast, lots of really cool freebies on my website so you can start exploring some of this cool work between you and your business. Yeah, come and join me over on Biz Coach Selena. And of course, you'll find the interview with the fabulous Payman there too.
oh,
So you've got to
when
check
is
that
that
out.
gonna go live, by the way?
Well, I haven't told him yet. but it will be there
Oh,
by the time you visit, I'm sure. It was
yeah.
only yesterday, everyone. Give me a minute to edit it. Goodness.
Yeah,
We
no.
talked. It was
He's being
great.
a bit
It was
impatient
good.
because he had such a good time that he wants to see it, you know?
It was good. It was good to
That was
chit
good.
chat. I can
Yeah, yeah.
understand it.
Listen, Selena with two E's. I
Thank you.
salute you. You're truly with a heart. I love what you're doing, your passion. Keep shining your light, keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact, your smile, and your gifts. But also always remember that you yourself, Selena, are a beautiful gift. So you know what to do. Stay safe, stay warm, stay cool, whatever weather's in Adelaide for you. And talk to you again very soon. Take care, my friend. Cheers.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye bye.